One of the lucky ones. That's what I thought. For most of my life, I believed that I got out of my neighborhood because I was one of the lucky ones. Growing up, it seemed to come down to the luck of the draw as to who made it out and who didn't. And I used to think that I was one of the ones who just happened to get lucky. But as I've gotten older and reflected on my childhood, I now know that it wasn't luck at all. I got out of my neighborhood because of purposeful and meaningful intervention by adults in my community who made it possible for me to have a better life. In the end, it wasn't luck at all. At Urban Alliance, where I'm currently the CEO, we envision and work for a world where the futures of our youth aren't left up to luck. We believe that early workforce experience that is meaningful, long-term, and appropriately supported by adults can make all of the difference between access to opportunity and nothing at all, between life and death. So as I said, I've always felt very lucky. My mom was 19 and single when she had me in 1975. And 3 years later, I was the lone flower girl at my parents' wedding. And 2 years after that, my little sister was born. And I still felt lucky because even though I was the one who had to grab my little sister and carry her out of the room when my dad began to hit my mom, I felt lucky that I saw firsthand the life that I didn't want. Over the years, my sister and I have experienced two very different life paths. Mine has led me to this stage, and hers is an everyday struggle to raise 3 kids largely on her own and to do daily battle with generational poverty that chases each day. I used to think that the difference between our life paths had to be due to chance or luck or fate, for she is no less smart, talented, or capable. Because what you have to understand is that while we grew up poor, we were surrounded by countless amazing and brilliant folks who had many talents, but no opportunities for those talents to flourish. And it seemed that only a very lucky few made it out. And still today, in 2015, far too many of the lives of our young people are being left to luck. Nationally, 22% of all youth under the age of 18 live in poverty. Across the country, 14% of youth between the ages of 16 and 24 are not in school and not working. And right here in the nation's capital, where Urban Alliance was founded in 1996, almost 30% of all young people under the age of 18 live below the poverty line. I think about what it means to have this kind of poverty in the shadow of the nation's capital. I think about what this means in terms of our responsibility to intervene as caring adults. And I think about the fact that our young people are dying. We see it every single day as they succumb physically, mentally, and emotionally to a system of long-term disenfranchisement and lack of access to opportunity that is literally killing them. That is why I am so proud to lead an organization that is rooted in a history of caring adults who came to do something, even if small, to increase positive interventions for youth in need. At Urban Alliance, we believe that all young people possess talents and strengths. But we also know that far too many are locked out of the very opportunities that they need to ultimately maximize their full potential and get onto a path of self-sufficiency. The Urban Alliance program was created to deliver 5 comprehensive and complementary employment-based interventions. Those include a 6-week soft skills training, a 10-month paid corporate internship, 2 caring adults, an Urban Alliance program coordinator, and a job site mentor, post-high school planning and support, and post-program continued alumni services. At Urban Alliance, we believe that all these young people can do something wonderful and great. Every year, on average, 100% of Urban Alliance interns graduate from high school. 90% are accepted into a 2- or 4-year college. 80% enroll, and 80% persist on to a 2nd year of college. Urban Alliance is in its 3rd year of its very first randomized controlled trial study. And while we're hopeful for statistically significant results, what we're most excited about is the platform that those results will provide for us to be able to highlight the 2 interventions that we believe have been the secret sauce to the success that we've had in supporting young people. That is early youth employment and the exposure of youth to realities outside of their own to build their confidence, self-esteem, and critical soft skills. Our youth frequently tell us that their very first work experiences help them to take responsibility, develop critical time management skills, and overcome shyness. And in fact, research by Nobel Prize-winning economist James J. Heckman indicates that these are the very soft skills that our youth need to succeed with regard to educational attainment, future wages, and life outcomes. I got my very first job the summer after my 9th grade year at Earl R. Hupp CPA. My mom eventually left my dad, and we moved to California for a new start. And she did the very best that she could to raise myself, my sister, and eventually a 3rd daughter largely on her own. We arrived in Los Angeles in 1984 at a peak time in gang activity, and we settled into a pretty violent neighborhood. There were regular shootings and violence all around, and it all came to a head during the Los Angeles riots in 1993 when I was just a junior in high school. And I can say again that what saved my life wasn't luck, but those adults in my community who made it their duty to make sure that I was exposed to realities outside of my own, including their help and support with me in getting me my first job. At Earl R. Hupp CPA, I was paid $5 an hour to file, make copies, and write checks. But by the end of the summer, I had built up a pretty strong reputation, and I was considered to be a real part of the team. And what this experience taught me more than anything else is that no matter where I was from, no matter where I lived, no matter what I didn't have, that I could fit in, that I belonged, and that I could fit in with people from very different worlds and experiences than my own. It taught me that I was good enough. It gave me hope. And that's exactly what Urban Alliance does. We act as a bridge between companies such as Artemis, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Northern Trust, and under-resourced youth, many of whom have never left their neighborhoods or traveled to the White House or the Capitol building or even downtown DC, even though these places are just a few miles from their home. The Urban Alliance combination of exposure to corporate environments, the opportunities to exercise critical workplace skills, and support from caring adults all along the way has created a powerful intervention that has helped so many young people to understand that no matter where you're from, what you don't have, and where you live, that you have something to offer this world, that you are smart enough and that you are good enough. Early work experience can make all of the difference between luck and no luck, between even life and death. I want to tell you a little bit about an Urban Alliance intern named Jocelyn. Jocelyn came into Urban Alliance in 2013 during the first year that we expanded into Northern Virginia. Like myself and countless others, Jocelyn came into her very first work experience with an unstable background and family struggles. But she did so very well at her internship at the Alexandria City Attorney's Office that they hired her. And she now works there full-time while attending Northern Virginia Community College. My sister, now 35, is finally working too. And it's still a struggle for her as she works very hard to raise 3 kids on a salary of $35,000 a year. But I often wonder how her talents could have been nurtured if she had been one of the lucky ones. I recently came across a quote that said, "Talent is universal, but opportunity is not." The question I think for us as a community and as a society is, how can we create more access to opportunity? How can we create more Jocelyn stories and less of what we saw in Baltimore and in Ferguson, and maybe what we see when we walk around and drive around in Washington, D.C., but maybe we ignore? We all came here today to think about what works. But I think an equally important question is, who works? We have got to do better by our young people, and we have got to give them concrete job opportunities for them to fully maximize their full potential. We have got to stop accepting the reality of some lucky few getting out while others remain trapped. At Urban Alliance, the amount of youth that we can serve is only limited by the number of job partners that we have. So if you have the ability to hire someone or to get someone a job, please consider our young people. Everyone deserves an opportunity, and no one should be forced to rely on luck. Thank you.